Distancing yourself from toxic people, distancing yourself from people that no longer serve you and that are draining your energy. We're going to talk about that in today's video. If you clicked on this video, you are likely in a situation in life where you are dealing with someone or many people that you feel you need to disconnect from, but you feel it's difficult for whatever the case may be. Maybe they have a certain place in your life, maybe they're relatives, maybe they're friends, but they're no longer serving you because you are going down a different path and they are not ready to go down that path with you. First of all, before we get into how to disconnect or when to disconnect, I want to help you shift your perspective on this really quickly here, because a lot of times we look at these people and we say, this person's toxic. We say this person's negative. This person is asleep. This person's not woke. These are judgments. Now, it's important that we see everybody for who they truly are. And perhaps they're not awake. Perhaps they are toxic to your life, but this is where they are currently on their path, and you can't judge somebody for where they are on their path. So you have two options. You can stick around. You can try to help them. You can be a light in their life. And maybe that means you no longer do the things that you used to do. Maybe you guys used to go out and hang out and smoke and drink and do all these things and talk about all the nonsense that happened in the past and talk about all the worldly things and this and that. Maybe you don't do those things anymore, but you bring them to the lake, right? Let's say you bring them to nature and you walk around and you talk about, you spark conversations about things that pertain to self-growth and self-development and spirituality, what you're now interested in. Or the second option is you can just completely distance yourself and stop talking to that person. If it's a friend, that might be very difficult because you have a lot of memories. But for example, in my life, when I first started on this spiritual path, first for me, actually, it started as a path of self-development before it turned into a spiritual path. What I mean by self-development is, for me, it was about gaining a lot of money, creating the business, building up my ego to become this powerful person that has millions and millions of dollars and nice cars and luxury lifestyle. This was my mindset when I first started to shift and change my way of thinking. But eventually I started becoming more in tune with my spirit, and I was directed more towards a spiritual path. So for me, I had to move literally 2 hours away from everybody that I knew. And when I made this move, when I made this shift, these people naturally started to fall off. Now, these are people that I can call right now and have a great conversation with. But we usually don't talk for months at a time. I still have people that I love. They're still great friends in my heart. But we no longer really communicate because we're not on the same frequency. Now, I wouldn't call these people toxic. I would just say that they're on their own point in their path, and it's not in alignment with where I'm at on my path. And that's perfectly fine. See, the main thing that you have to realize and the main thing that you have to implement is acceptance. You have to realize that you must accept whatever happens in this life, and that is how life will truly blossom for you, when you practice acceptance. Now, what about family? I know a lot of people deal with this with family. I've had people tell me that, they started to deal with spirituality, meditation, tarot cards, this and that, and their family literally calls them a witch or a demon, or, they will try and make them feel bad for the path that they went down. Now, me personally, I don't knock anybody for whatever tools that they use to connect with the higher source. Me personally, I simply just meditate and do breathing practices and connect with nature. But whatever people need at their point in their path, I'm not going to try to make them feel bad or tell them this is wrong. This is where they are in their journey. So if you have family that looks down upon you because you are practicing these things that they're not used to. Maybe they're religious and you grew up in a religious household and you're starting to distance yourself from religion, and they don't like that. They think the path you're going down is the devil. You have to accept it. And what you have to do is, at least what you can try to do, is speak to them from their level of understanding. If they're, let's say, Christian, and they only believe what's in the Bible, then you have to speak to them from a biblical perspective. The Bible has a lot of powerful spiritual quotes and wisdom in it that you can relate to what you're now interested in, and you could show them, you see, Jesus talked about this, this, and this. Paul said this, this, and this. In Corinthians it said this, in Proverbs it said this. And you can relate that to the spiritual path. And maybe you can start to plant seeds that will eventually blossom and they will see your perspective. This is another way to do it. You don't necessarily have to completely disconnect, but if it does come to a point where you have to completely disconnect, then sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. You have to disconnect so that you can continue on your path to self-growth, especially if they are a hindrance to your growth, if they are bringing a lot of negative energy into your life. Now, for some people, they may ask, well, let's say maybe I have some younger people watching who still live with their parents. Well, I would try to keep it on the down low. If they are completely against what you're doing, I would try to, not even mention it. Just do your thing in silence. Don't bring it to them. If they believe in the Bible, if they're Christians, if they're this, if they're that, just go along with whatever it is that they believe, whatever they do, and continue your inwards journey, and everything will be fine. The negativity that surrounds you, I'll make another video on that, how to deal with negative, toxic environments. Actually, I don't even want to dive into that right now because I will make another video on that. So leave a comment below if you'd like to see that video, and subscribe to the channel so you can get notified when it drops. So with that being said, I think that's about all for this video. Make sure that you subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment down below, and I will see you in the next video. I hope this helped. Much peace and love.